via online platforms, via radio, and whatever means. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of our press briefing, which is the final one for the year. And on behalf of the President, again, let me wish all of you many compliments of the season and prosperous new year. As always, it has been a very active week. As you all know, the President just returned from Lofa County, where he spent to Lofa to participate in the commemoration of the 60th anniversary of the four counties, Bong, Limba, Lofa, and Brangida counties, when the Green County started sometime in 1964. This year marked the 60th anniversary, and that engagement brought together sons and daughters, and as well as people who are sympathizers of the counties together to really look at the 60th year, but more importantly, chart a new course forward where citizens of those counties have pledged their commitment to the continued coordination and peace process, as well as showing that the counties are united in strengthening the unification plan or unification policy. The sons and daughters committed. In fact, the President's participation in the event, at the end of it, there was a resolution. The resolution was signed by the four counties, recommitting themselves to unity, to peace, to collaboration, and to fostering togetherness. And the counties also saw themselves getting together in a very festive mood in terms of having a soccer match. And it was a week-long activity over there. From Lofa County, the President went to, from Bonjama, he went to Foya, where activities with the kids, with the community, and then he also did several groundbreaking, most importantly, groundbreaking for the road project from Foya district to Wasonga. Also dedication of a bridge connects Liberia to Sierra Leone. In a number of different cultural extravaganza, as you can put it. So it has been a very busy week. I can say the President was very excited to be there. Since after the elections, he is going back and meeting citizens, meeting women. In fact, part of that engagement, he also engaged different segments of the population, including the women of Lofa came together to talk about some challenges that they have and what their suggestions are to or recommending to the President to do for them. Their engagement with the elders, the chiefs as well, and cultural participation and activities there. And the President's back. He came earlier today. Was home, getting some rest. The activities continued on the course of the week. So that was the President week. So our goal here this afternoon is to really again thank all of you, members of the press corps, for the time being. Since we started here, we activated the regular press briefing for the first time here at the Executive Mansion, where we update the country, the workings of the President, and all of you from the different media houses, for members of the press corps, have been doing their utmost best to continue the work. But more importantly, to also really thank all of you, because I see all of you are young people who are working with different institutions and doing your best to cover the executive function. It's not an easy thing to be a member of the press corps. It's not an easy thing to cover the presidency, because the President is a very busy person, and your time, your efforts, and everything. And so this press briefing was to basically give you the opportunity. Let's talk about some issues that you want us to talk about, some questions you may have, and as we conclude this year. And as the year ends by next year, we hope that we will have a more strengthening press corps, press poll that will really live up to the mandate of what the Executive Mansion press poll is, but more so that you have more opportunities and more engagement and see how our work can be coordinated and supported significantly, and that all of you can really do your best and do well in your different fields. It's a challenging thing to be a journalist in Liberia because you know how difficult it is. However, the profession you've chosen, the very important profession, because without you, many things that the government does, many things that people do, the rest of the country will not know. So again, let me again thank you on behalf of the President, on behalf of our office, on behalf of the entire team at our department. I want to really thank all of you for the hard work. So I'll stop here. If you have questions, comments, whatever you want to talk about the presidency, we will ask you to again state your name and institution. Thank you all. Thank you all. Good afternoon.
Okay, we'll now take questions beginning with Anthony from ELDC.
Thanks. Madam Presidential Press Secretary, my name is Anthony Williams. I work for State Radio. The President's first and major State of the Nation's address is up in January, and you did not speak about that in your briefing shortly. I would love you to mention what preparations are ongoing for His Excellency's SONA. Also in Lofa, while His Excellency was there, he held talks with some Lofians who are top government officials and lawmakers, but also some of his fierce critics. And it has been an issue on social media and across the country. Don't forget, some of these people are from the opposition bloc, and during elections times, they were Mr. President's fierce critics. And so I want you to tell us what outcome, how can you describe the outcome of Mr. President's peace discussions with some of his fierce critics. I would love to mention names. Honorable Thomas Fala, I also saw Honorable Sir Joseph, who also sat in the meeting that was held. How do you describe this? Is this, while I must say peace talks were held, can we also consider this as a political move by some of Mr. President's fierce critics, moving over to him, or whichever way you can describe it, I would really appreciate. Two major issues. Speak about Mr. President's preparation for his SONA, and tell me how you describe the peace talks that were held in Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Julius Puncton from Fortune Television. There is this quote, comment or statement from the president in Lofa talking about corruption and that of stealing from government officials, and that at the end of the day, in summary, not a direct quotation though, that the Liberian people or the ordinary people should benefit. I would like you to throw more light on that in terms of clarity. And also personally to you, you also posted on social media, and there was some criticism from your own posts. This is the time to speak with Executive Mansion reporters to explain detail what we can mean by some of the things you said. Thank you.
Well, good evening, Madam. My intention of being due to few concerns. First, they have to do with the President's recent visit to Nigeria. Is there any good news from there for the Liberian people? That's one. Two, the issue about the NEC. Is the President concerned about the NEC? The NEC talks is still reaffirming our commitment that those that were displaced will not go back to work, and they are saying they're going to raise serious protests on the day that they're supposed to resume back to job as well. Are there any concern from the President in that issue?
All right. right. Thank you very much. I will attempt to answer your first set of questions. The first question on the state of the nation or the annual message. Yes, the annual message will take place sometime later in January. And yes, there are preparations. But as we get closer to the annual message, we'll give you more information as to the what, where, when, how, and the rest of it, because it is a constitutional requirement. The president is absolutely going to be speaking to the country, giving updates on the first year in office, his major achievements, the challenges, and where we are headed, and setting up his legislative agenda. So yes, preparations are on the way, but primarily right now it's with the initial foreign affairs, as you know, especially in terms of guests, writing, our partners in the diplomatic community, those who will be invited from outside of the country to let them aware, primarily all of the different things that are happening. So as we get closer to, this is our last first meeting for the year, definitely the very first week will also be people updates. Very first week in January, people updates so where we are, particularly on the annual message. On the question of top offense, as you know, as I said earlier, the president had also NOFA to participate in the 60th anniversary of the 4 counties, the county counties, and the sons and daughters, what they call them top offense or state leaders, were all in attendance, and it was encouraged that leaders from the 4 counties should attend. And you specifically mentioned the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Fala. In fact, that's also, even though it was a regional activity, but it also has a national connotation to it, because it was talking basically about how both, the unification policy, the unification plan, and how the entire community of these counties can work together. And those sons and daughters got together to participate in that. And I do know that there are a lot of reconciliatory activities happening. For example, the soccer game, yes, there was a meeting. In fact, the elders also encourage the sons and daughters to work together. And we're happy to see that the leadership of our country, or portion of the leadership of our country, person. For example, you had the president, the vice president, the deputy speaker, and other members of the legislature, including the Senate. So this was an attempt to bring together the leadership of the country and the community, particularly the elders, who were very happy. And another activity that really happened, the president visited the Kwadugoni region in a town called Samadu, the first town of the Kwadugoni district in Lofa County. And it was also a very big reconciliatory activity there, where the community had come together to thank the president for his leadership, for his role. And despite the fact that that community did not vote for the president, majority did not vote for the president during his own elections, and they were apologizing, the president said, well, at the end of the day, there's just one president. It's democracy. Everybody had the right to vote. Everybody had the right to choose their leaders. And you didn't think that we should be choosing. However, I did not take this to be anything. At the end of the day, I'm a president for all of Liberia. And his visit to that region was a surprise to many people in the community. They thought that, because he did not vote for him, he wasn't going to go there. So he went there, met the people. In fact, they even gave him some items, some gowns. They even talked about presentation of a camel to the country, that they're going to pray for the country. They're going to use that as a way to unite. And they were also thankful to him. That's why by supporting him during the 2023 elections, that he had appointed some of their sons and daughters in the government. So that was also a form of reconciliation. And the engagement in Zonjama was also a major part to bring the community together. So yes, the sons and daughters, if you call them top offense, however, all of them, the interest was to work together for the betterment of our country. Elections are over, governance is on, and everyone, the president, vice president, deputy speaker, the rest of the Senate leadership who were there, as well as other members of the lower house who came to celebrate, all saw that as a time to unite, to work together for Liberia to move forward. That's what was important for the president. The question of the president's statement, people in Liberia like to make more out of molehill, meaning sometimes people take statements and run with it in the wrong way. But the president has been really very clear on his fight against corruption. And as you know, Julius, the executive mansion also released a statement specifically in that as well. And then I did an interview with OKFM, and to clarify, because a lot of people were asking for clarification. Those of you who attended, maybe if you talk to the journalists who covered the president's activity in Zonjama, particularly when he spoke, you'll know that he spoke clearly. And his message has always been that corruption is bad for our country. And he's taken specific steps. In fact, he fired other people who have gotten themselves involved. He dismissed people, he suspended people. So he's taking action on corruption. And he said from day one that corruption is not a good thing. When he got in office, he declared his assets. A few weeks down the line, he made his declaration public. And he's done a lot of things in line to combat corruption. And he said, in fact, when he appoints any official government, he specifically tells them that my hope for your job or for you is to ensure that you work with integrity and uphold loyalty to the country. So the president's statement in no way support any form of corruption. The president's statement was clear that corruption is bad. The resources that people still need to be used for their country, that's what he meant. That is bad for you to be corrupt, and he's taking action in the past. So this statement was very clear, intending for political reasons to track what he said, And if you read the entire speech or you listen to the entire speech, you will hear many things that the president said. On the situation with Liberia, when you say all the good things, nobody pay attention, but except if they hear or they thought that they've heard something negative, and then they highlight that portion, which of course is not a good thing. But the president has always been clear, he's taking steps and actions against officials who've been corrupt in his government, and he has continuously said, in fact, the time he had come from the infamous speech of that he can ride wheelbarrow to come to work when he had come back from one of his visits, he's continuously said that corruption is bad and that he won't condone it. Every time he has a chance to speak to the country in any form, he speaks against corruption. Why would you think that he will want to go and say he supports corruption? That was absolutely true. The statement was very clear. People need to listen to the statement and understand it, and specifically what he's also done in the past in terms of combating corruption. Somebody asked about my social media post. We live in the technological world today, and a lot of time people will do all kinds of things. They have AIs, they got people doing shopping, and when you're a politician or a political figure, people always try to manipulate what's going on, and then they come and put it on you. But Julius, I can tell you, I am one person, I'm not perfect, but I'm one person who is very open-minded, who is well tolerated. I come from a background of both Muslim and Christian. My mother was a Christian who reverted to Islam. My current older sister is a mother in a church. So at no point in time, even in my wildest dream, plus government job, without government job, I've never even harbored any form. What people did, and if you see all of the, in fact, OKFM did send that post to one of the fact-checking agencies. They did do a fact-checking, and they realized that that was actually a fake post that someone did. What they actually do, they went ahead and took my page and did a screenshot and copied it and posted on their own page, and then screenshotted that and put the both together and created a page just to create a narrative that this person said this and this person said that. But even if you read a post, you will even see there's still editing tools on there, as I've said. And the funny thing about it, you'll see that there are a number of the same post, the same screenshot that is being distributed, because even if you look at the top of that image, you'll see the margins. Nobody will post it, you still see the shaking margin, one is larger, one is smaller. So it's easier to detect that was fake, and that at no time will I even say something like that. I will never write such stuff. I do post very important things on my page, and I take responsibility for what I do personally. It's something that I did not do. So that was actually a thing. I didn't even want to get into that, but because you asked, that's why I thought to address it. But clearly, if you see the post, you would definitely know that it's some form of alteration. They have all kinds of things to play. And then it's the only screenshot you see. Because if someone posted a controversial post in 20 minutes or even 5 minutes, a lot of people will screenshot it and they'll have different things to go. But you have the very same exact screenshot going around, and no one can say that, oh, I saw this, or I didn't see it, or I saw it, or I commented on it, or I liked it. So it's the work of the internet age. This is where we live, this is how it is. But again, that's why as journalists, the onus is on you, and the benchmarks are higher on journalists. So before you even report or you share, or you see something and want to run with it, or even tell the audience about it, your duty is to fact check. Good thing Liberia is progressing gradually. There are a number of fact-checking institutions here that you can send stuff to them and they can verify, or even the person who is accusing of doing something. So again, journalists, and that's why as we go into the next year, 2025, I'm really looking forward to finding opportunities or some training opportunities for all of you here, that people will understand what journalism is important, the role that you will play, and how higher the bar should be set as a journalist, so that when you put yourself up, you put yourself in part, and then you see other people, you see other countries, other journalists, other press corps, the White House press corps, and other places, and see how they conduct themselves, what questions they ask, how they really do their fact checking, and how they're really, really very involved into what they do. So we'll do our best to find opportunities for all of you. That's why these kinds of things, before it gets to social media, that's why I keep on telling all of you. When it comes to social media, you have to do your due diligence. Before you say, oh, before I do on social media, but at least if there's a subject that you're connecting to an institution, individual, reach out to that person, verify, you get to that when you're asking a question. It's not even for me, but people who are following you, people who are listening to your questions you're asking, people who are engaging with you, they can say, oh yes, a question you asked is very good, and I think that you're doing well, you'll go far ahead. So let's do that as we go into the next year. The president's recent visit to Nigeria. As you know, the president went to Nigeria, as I said, to attend the ECOWAS Heads of State meeting, the ordinary section of the Heads of State. And that meeting was very important this year because this year marked the time where the three countries, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, are trying to leave the union of ECOWAS. Our president's participation was key as well as an elderly statesman within the region, spoke to really bring the spirit of the citizenry and other things, and they're still engaged despite the vehemence of the three countries to leave the union. but there's still negotiations and conversation happening. Because as you know, when leaders of countries when they make key decisions, such as leaving a union, it may affect them, but the brunt of it is on the citizens. Because citizens who used to go do their businesses, cross-border trade, some people have families, so those decisions really hamper the citizenry. So it shows that that decision will really not cause major challenges in that. That's why you have our president and other leaders are still engaged in the diplomatic conversation. So his visit there was very, very important for Liberia and our diplomatic approach. On the issue of the National Elections Commission, yes, this is something that has been brought to the awareness of the president. As you all know, I talked about it the last time concerning the communication that was written from the executive mansion to NEC on the instruction of the president by the Minister of State. And those engagements are still active, and the president is still concerned about what's happening over there because, as you know, regardless, Liberians need their jobs, the need to be employed, and the need to, and the president holds his view very strongly. It doesn't have to be anything, but everyone needs equal opportunity for equal employment. So we're all reviewing the situation and we will be engaged subsequently. So we'll take the last batch of questions and then
So, again, my name is Fatoma, so finally from my end. Madam, and the other concerned. We have one nation, two speaker, is the president concerned who is to receive it on his personal address. One nation, two speaker, is the president who to address, who to receive him in relation to his personal address. And we were also informed that they are a committee investigation on the recent break at the National, at the Capitol building. What's the latest from there as well? And then another issue that have to do with few government officials signed the performance contract along with the president of recent and were told the rest of it done later. And as it stands, we are about to engage into 2025. How many government officials signed the performance contract in totality? Thank you.
Okay, my name is Daniel, and PBS, I want you to make clarity on the president's trip to Bufa using the chopper. Thank you.
Yes, I go to go see what company that you are record have before. I have few concern. The first one is few weeks ago, the president gave an ultimatum for officials to declare asset. And the days are being expired. What is the president's stance? Number two, as the first female presidential press secretary, what have been your challenge and your success for the 4 years into war? Number three, what is Liberia's fate on the MCC? A person, why is Liberia's fate? Thank you.
Yes, I'm Julius Quentin once more. I'd like you to throw light on the banner saying to the journalists we have to be curious. The last is December 30th, 2024. One Liberia March. Will you throw more light on that for the sake of the media? Thank you.
Anthony Williams again, madam. And sorry, excuse me. I would love you to kindly comment I know my colleagues speak about the MCC scorecard, but I would love you, because this it was made mention that Liberia is qualified for a new compact, and what preparation is the government making, because the government has to be in readiness for the compact. So I would love you to mention what preparations the government making for the compound. And also a few weeks back, we spoke about Mr. President's tour across the country. He just made one to Lofa. So what's being worked on for him to tour the entire country? Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I think those are great questions. Let's start with the tour. Well, the Lofa one wasn't actually the tour because, like I said, it coincided with the 60th anniversary. Actually, we went there to participate in the 60th anniversary of the 4 counties. And then we had to spend the Christmas there with the people of Lofa. So the tour will start sometime early next year. We're looking somewhere around February or so. But again, right now, I can be definite around when which county first, where it's going, how it's going, and whatnot, or who's going amongst all of you. But what I can say is that yes, it was going to happen, and it will happen early next year. On the question of the diaspora annual return, as Julia has asked, yes, this is something that has started. I remember during our last press briefing, or the press briefing for the last week, we talked about the diaspora activities, and that this is the first one that we're doing to ensuring that diasporans or Liberians in the diaspora, to encourage them to come home, but to also welcome them, do different things, a number of different engagements. In fact, what has happened so far, when the program started, we had a big welcoming program here in this very hall with the diaspora Liberians. And most interestingly, there were others who were not Liberians, but they're American, but they chose Liberia to be a destination for them. And some of them have also decided to actually move here, and take up residency, but also live here with their families. So those things are taking place. Additionally, the president did invite them for a dinner at his home, where some of them were honored, like the individuals from Atlanta, Georgia. There were a number of different engagements happening. So yes, as you can see, there was a reconciliatory dialogue. There's also a plan of the One Liberia March, which is happening on the 30th. And we encourage Liberians, not just the diaspora Liberians, but Liberians in Liberia, when you're around these activities, to get engaged and get involved, to show to our fellow citizens that Liberia is for Liberia, for all. And we normally say within the diaspora community that once a Liberian, always a Liberian, even if you take on another citizenship. In fact, as you know, dual citizenship is allowed in Liberia. So that means there's a big room for all of us. So as you see diaspora Liberians around, please be welcoming to them. The team also did a welcoming at the airport. If you go to the airport now, you see this banner in places. You go to other hotels, other places, you see the information there. This is all encouraging Liberians to come home, or even non-Liberians, to see Liberia as a destination. Because what this does is not just coming home, but it helps show the world that yes, Liberia is safe. And the narrative back then that people used to hear about Liberia, it's a war-torn country, or everything about Liberia is just war. But that erases that notion, the fact that we are welcoming, the fact that, but it also contributes to the economy. It contributes because as people come in, they're going to go to hotels, people are going to contribute to the different infrastructure, so people have projects here, investments are here, they're coming to those investments. So it really helps to contribute to our economy and see how it's booming in all sectors. So this is a way to really, really open the system up to everyone, including diaspora Liberians. On the question of MCC, I think it's a great question. As you know, the president did announce during his message to the country recently of Liberia's qualification of the Millennium Challenge Corporation's Compact 2, and that qualification is something good for Liberia. So what does that mean is that we as a country can apply a certain amount of money to help major projects, just to make it simple. So for this particular compact, the interests have been around road, electricity, and other key sectors that are very important to our arrested children.
What are those other key sectors, ma'am?
So as I was saying, you have roads, you have electricity, you have education, agriculture, health, pretty much culminating to the arrested children. And right now, what is happening in terms of the status, the Ministry of Finance and Urban Planning is engaging. They've already opened or set up a team for Liberia within the US. So there's a Liberian team that coordinates our activities and our stages, the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, in terms of how soon or our preparedness of preparation we're getting the resources. And they do come in trenches. So the Ministry of Finance and Urban Planning has a team here, the Minister of Finance. In fact, recently had a meeting with the Liberian office for the NCC in the US. And there is going to be, in fact, already ongoing now, there's a back and forth to let us prepare, but more so that our team here will be able to see this is where we are. For example, if there's requests of whatever it is, and particularly the team is upfront with those information and that we qualify and that we're able to receive the first sets of the resources that we give to support the government. The other question around my challenges in progress personally. I don't think we have much time here to talk about my office personally, but I think the most important thing, I've enjoyed working with all of you. I do know there will, of course, in every setting be challenges here and there, but for the most part, I think being the first female presidential press secretary, as you asked that, I think many people may not have gotten used to that, and especially in the media world in Liberia, it's a male-dominant space. So being a female, there is that issue relating to, gender biases, especially now with people outside of this space that we're in. But I think the challenges that we have, these are things that are surmountable. These are things that we can work on. Our progress, I think what we've done so far, even just getting started at this regular press briefing to talk to the country about what the president is doing, also strengthening our office, ensuring that people understand the relevance or the importance of this office, what we managed to also do to really get the people internally to understand the role that the office play. And we've done our best. We're trying. It's always not the easiest thing, but also to engage with other media houses and doing our best to open up regularly as the president travels. When we get back, we'll try to attend different radio stations and do interviews and talk to people. I know resource-wise, it's challenging. In Liberia, communication is not the place that people really spend resources on, but we're making the case, and we will continue to do that as the year ends, but as we get to the new year. We'll do our best to represent the office of the president very well. We're not perfect, of course, and we've never said anything about perfection before. We all are learning. We'll do our best, and most importantly, we uphold the ethics of the profession that we're in, and also the ethics of the presidency, because that office that is working for the Liberian will look forward to the office to work for them, do our best to represent them, to speak on their behalf to the president when we have the opportunity to, and let the president know what the Liberian people are saying, because we serve as a gateway between the presidency and the public. So we will be able to do that and let you know that the people are saying this, and we've continuously done that. almost some of the comments that people made, we print them out, we summarize some, and let them know these are the top issues, and we need to talk about this, and we need to address this, and we've managed, and we've been able to do some of those. I think this is some, he also loves it, he loves it, he tells us all of the time what are the people saying, what can we do better, and we will continue to do that. On access declaration, this is something that the president will do. I know that they've briefed him on the status, who all done it, and where he is. So as soon as he makes that announcement, all will get to hear from us. Performance contract, how many persons? Well, I can say the first program was because the officials of government are many, so all of them were not in town, some had traveled, but they started already. The remaining ones, the people who were not here during the first signing, they have continued their signing process based on the president's schedule. And I can tell you, they're almost to the completion of the people, if not all. The only reason why some of them were not able to sign because some of them had traveled out of the country or out of town or out of the county, some of them in the counties going to do the activities there. The Commission on Investigation. Yes, so when the situation happened, the president went to the legislature, the grounds of the legislature, and he told his team, headed by the Minister of Justice, to ensure that the investigation is swift and ongoing, and so that currently the investigation is ongoing. I can say it's nearing completion, and as soon as the president's brief as to stands, and once it is made declassified, and then we will be able to inform you. But I can tell you that there's an active investigation on the question of the speaker, who will receive the president. I think the legislature has a speaker now. As you know, the budget was submitted, the budget conversation was ended, the budget was passed by both houses. Once the time comes for the delivery of the final message, that will happen, and the authorities will be there. The speaker, his leadership will as well receive the president. I think so far, those are the questions. If there are any burning ones, yes.
Yeah, Mark.
I like the hat.
I'm Rachel Cody, representing LNTV. So my concern is with the drop. The president meeting is key priority when he came to power. He did drug testing and encouraged his cabinet to do the same. And today we still have the disadvantaged youth still in the street. Why are we? Yes.
Thank you. That's a very important question. So the way it works is now that when the president did the drug test, and within 6 months or a year, everything you won't see any disadvantage. But I can tell you there's been significant progress as to the drug epidemic. The institution, for example, the Ministry of Youth and Sports and other partners are currently very actively engaging different organizations that are working with at-risk youth. And that fight, the president still maintains that is his number one fight. And when he set up his committee has continuously met regularly, headed by the Ministry of Health and other partners, to update on where we are. I can say that this is progress. And if you go to some communities, yes, the drug is something that is a challenging situation where it connects multiple sectors. For example, security sector, our holders, there's a number of different things. However, there's a commitment from the president, there's a commitment from the government, there's a commitment from the team that set up the committee headed by the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Health. So that committee and their team is still working on it. And I'm sure you've also seen very recently the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection launched the street case program. This is all part of the bigger concerted effort on showing that young children are off the streets because they're prone to the drug epidemic. And the president is keen on that. I'm sure going forward you will see more actions. But I can say this, it still is something that he's still concerned about. So I think we concluded now. Thank you all so much for your time, for your effort, for being here. And I want to take this time to wish all of you, happy New Year. Looking forward to a blissful 2025. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Okay, so that was voice of the president of the
on the updating members of the press on the activities of the president. It's representing President Joseph Boakai, who just returned from Lofa on a week-long trip. Several issues were highlighted by the Presidential Press Secretary Kula for Finance.
This is the official last press briefing for the year, unless something else happens. But thank you. My name is Vanias Kamara, and I've been bringing you this year's coverage. And thank you, and catch you some other time.